Okay. So the scope of the work with reference to the work without a permit at this time is windows.
Windows, yes.
For the certificate of appropriateness violation, there needs to be a certificate of appropriateness for the windows and the driveway.
Yes.
Staff went out on a site visit and noticed that there had been accordion shutters put on all over the house, which aren't even allowed in our historic districts, at least on the visible sides of the house, and that the driveway had, in effect, he had cut off a portion of the wing wall, which came extended from the house towards the driveway, which was a historic feature of the house. This mortified us.
Ms. Kaufman, if I could just ask you a few questions. With reference to the certificate of appropriateness, there is no certificate of appropriateness at this time for the windows or the driveway?
There's no certificate of appropriateness for anything,
okay,
except for the previous driveway that was approved, which
okay,
is not the driveway that is installed now.
Okay.
Sir, your turn.
Okay, very good. I'm not here to deny that none of this has happened, okay, first of all. Number two, I want to explain the circumstances of events that have occurred. What I'm stating is that based on the information given to me and making 2 attempts to go to the city to get the approval and not being able to meet with her, I made a judgment call. Was it a poor judgment call? Maybe. We have gone ahead and removed the windows, the shutters, and we are continuing to remove all the shutters. And I have a revision to the driveway that I have prepared, and I'm going to be submitting this week to the city to incorporate the additional wall back into place. I'm willing to work here with the city. I'm trying to find happy medium where everybody can, you know, we're already lost. It's $15 a square foot in shutters to remove and replace the new shutters, and it's a lot of windows. I sat on the code enforcement board in Broward County for 5 years, so I understand everything that happens. I'm giving you my facts as what I have attempted to do, what I have tried to bring into compliance as much as possible. I am asking for a little bit of leniency, a little bit of flexibility, so that my client doesn't go completely bankrupt and that house ends up empty for another 16 years, or he's forced to rent it out to anybody.
If I may.
Yes.
Your client's financial security is not really our first concern here.
I understand that.
You'd have been better off if you had pleaded guilty. If you had pleaded guilty, we'd have set a number of days. Normally we do 60. I think it's safe to guess that. And we wouldn't have had to hear that what has been done to this historic property. I find this case heartbreaking, that people in the name of apparently nothing but making money come into an historic, you know, Miami isn't full of historic neighborhoods. There aren't that many. We're not creating any more, at least not for our lifetime. And to come into an historic district and do this to a house, and then to stand up in front of us and act like it was, you know, nothing, and even to suggest that you'll do this, that, and the other thing if the city works with you, it's not clear to me that you're in a position to tell the city what the city needs to do. I'm telling you, for people, these are pieces of our history. I got to tell you, this is heartbreaking that somebody would come and do this to a property and then act, well, you know, one day the excuse is, you know, you weren't able to find anybody at City Hall a couple of times. It's just, I'm flabbergasted. I don't care how many years you spent sitting on what code enforcement board, you've not made it clear that you get it at all. And if anybody thinks that historic properties and the restoration of historic properties is a good way to make money in real estate, they don't understand the business. It's a good thing for people who want to live in historic properties to do in order to live in them. But what I'm concerned about is that if we do that we load an already probably not so profitable project with more debt. And I'm just not, on the other hand, or the third hand, we're the same board that will have the power to mitigate that fine if it's necessary. So, having thought about that out loud, I would like to move for a finding of guilt based on the really just disgusting evidence presented and immediate compliance.
I'll second the motion.
And that's a fine of $250 a day. I have a motion and a second for 24-hour immediate compliance with a finding of guilt based on the testimony and the evidence proffered. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?